Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to LMA My Islam Book Part 2. In today's lesson, we are going to learn about Allah Ta'ala's angels. And before we begin our lesson, we need to know who are Allah Ta'ala's angels. Allah Ta'ala's angels are a special creation of Allah Ta'ala. The angels are a special creation of Allah Ta'ala. Allah Ta'ala tells us in an ayah, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, La ya'suna Allah ma amarahum. Allah says, the angels don't disobey any of Allah Ta'ala's commands. Today, Granny is going to teach Ahmad and Asma about who are Allah Ta'ala's angels. She says that Allah Ta'ala's angels only obey Allah Ta'ala's commands. Allah Ta'ala's angels only obey Allah Ta'ala's commands. They obey only Allah's commands. She said that we cannot see the angels. We cannot see the angels. Cannot see the angels. Ahmad excitedly asked his granny, can you please tell us what are the angels' responsibilities and their names? So Granny said the first angel, Jibreel alayhi salam, he is in charge of revelation. And revelation means a communication from Allah Ta'ala to the messengers. Jibreel alayhi salam was in charge of revelation. She said, Mikail alayhi salam he is in charge of food and rain. She said, Mikail alayhi salam is in charge of food and rain. Israel alayhi salam he is in charge of death. Israfil alayhi salam she said he is in charge of blowing the trumpet on the day of Qiyamah. We're going to quickly go over what she taught the children. She said Jibreel alayhi salam is in charge of revelation. Mikail alayhi salam is in charge of food and rain. Israel alayhi salam is in charge of death. Israfil alayhi salam is in charge of blowing the trumpet on the day of Qiyamah. She said that these are Allah Ta'ala's, some of these of Allah Ta'ala's angels and their responsibilities. She said that we are going to quickly do a story on the Battle of Badr, how the angels assisted the Muslims. She said that before we begin with our story, Allah Ta'ala created billions of angels and some of them also help us. She said there were 1,000 angels who helped the Muslim at the time of the Battle of Badr against the disbelievers. And also they made the Muslims more confident and also killed a lot of disbelievers. So before we end today's lesson, we are going to quickly recap what we learned. We learned that Allah Ta'ala's angels only obey Allah's commands. And we cannot see Allah's angels. And some of the angels and their responsibilities, Jibreel alayhi salam, who is in charge of revelation. Mikail alayhi salam, who is in charge of food and rain. Israel alayhi salam, who is in charge of death. Israfil alayhi salam, who is in charge of blowing the trumpet on the day of Qiyamah. And from the story, we learned there were 1,000 angels who assisted the Muslim against the disbelievers in the battle of Badr. That's it for today's lesson. Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
The kitab we are using is called My Islam Book 2, which is available from LMA.